This video is meant for developers on Enchanting, and it shows how to use the broadcast blocks between Scratch and Enchanting. I have Scratch here, Scratch 1.4, and I've got Enchanting here. This is Enchanting 0.0.5.1. Now, if we check right now, Scratch is not listening for any network connections. This lists the open files that are internet type files and anything related to Scratch. We need to enable remote sensor connections. Click on Sensing, scroll down to the bottom, right click on Sensor button pressed, and choose Enable Remote Sensor Connections. They're now enabled. If we do that check again, Scratch is listening on port 42,001. And apparently /dot is showing up. That's curious. Anyways, here we go with Enchanting. Well, back to Scratch. We've got the broadcast block, and there's also one I receive. So I can create a new message, say meow. Broadcast meow, and when I receive meow, and we can make it play the meow sound. We might even say meow for 2 seconds. Alright, double click on this, and we meow. Perfect. Now, in Enchanting, the same thing works. The two are connected. Let's see. Well, they are connected. And first we need to make the broadcast block show up here. So, hold down Shift, click on File, choose Exit User Mode, and bring up a browser. And in Enchanting configuration we have the NXT configuration, which if you look at the hierarchy comes off the Enchanting device configuration. Now there's instance methods and class methods. We're looking at the class methods here. Here's the block specs type functions and device block specs. Basically what we've got here is it takes all the standard specs and any specs that I've added and rejects this group of specifications called inapplicable specs. It also rejects things where they're just a string and not an entire specification. So I don't want to reject the broadcast specs right now. I will just replace this with a null list and comment out the rest of the line and save it. Now if we come back to Control, we have the broadcast blocks. And it even knows broadcast meow, and I didn't tell it that. So if I hit broadcast meow in Enchanting, it meows in Scratch. And it does work in the other direction, but there's nothing obvious I can show you with in Enchanting to act on the when I receive. Or rather, I believe it works in the other direction. In any case, the point ultimately is to send broadcasts between the robot and Scratch and not so much the Enchanting front end and Scratch. So now that we've got that, I also wanted to mention variables. Let's create a variable here. We will make a variable and we'll call it ENC, short for Enchanting, and we'll set it to hello. Great, the variable now exists. And over on the Scratch side, for good measure, we could create a variable, call it Scratch, and set it to 38. Okay, that now exists. In Scratch we can go to Sensing, and where is that exactly? There we go. Near where we turned on the remote sensor connections, for numbers we could use this one, slider sensor value, or in this case ENC sensor value. This value will report the value of the ENC variable in Enchanting. Let's just say that instead of meowing. So when we broadcast meow, it will meow and show that variable. And instantly I can just double click on it. It's hello right now. Right, we'll change it to world. We'll double click to make it take effect. We'll broadcast it, and it took effect. So again, when variables update on the robot, you should be able to see them in Scratch through this method. And I'd also like it, if possible, to have the value change right here, or right here rather, in Enchanting. And if they change it here in the Enchanting front end, it should change on the robot as well. Thus, for example, I envision a steering wheel being possible. If this was a numeric variable, we could... Oh, and it's funny, the buttons you have to press. Normally you'd right-click on this, but when you're not in end-user mode, you have to middle-click on it for the same effect. I can change it to a slider, and we can also set the min and max. And so, for example, I think you should be able to update the steering value on a variable just by changing this value, and it should change right away on the robot. Anyways, I hope that gives you a rough idea of what I'm trying to accomplish and how to use the broadcast commands in Enchanting in its current state. Thanks for watching.